past versions of me and even current versions of me sometimes. And that's one of the things that I have to work through. Feels like I have to be less than in order to be loved. 2, your voice will one day be your superpower. Start using it now. 18, self-respect will bring you peace that love never could. 24, being chosen is not the flex. Choosing yourself is. Hi, welcome to Say More Words, a podcast that was created to emphasize the human experience through stories. I hope that you come here to learn, to expand, and most importantly, learn how to say more words. Speak your story, speak your truth, boo-boo. We're so happy you're here. Okay. I missed y'all. How are you? This is a special one you're noticing if you are an avid fan. You've probably noticed that this is releasing on Thursday instead of Wednesday on purpose, because this Thursday, today, when you're listening to this, is my birthday. It is my 37th birthday. The song of the day is Birthday Bitch by Beckham. It is fire. I listened to that one and Birthday Girl by Lizzo on repeat on my birthday. Actually, I have a whole birthday playlist. Maybe I should drop that into the show notes so that you can celebrate your birthday. And I'm noticing there's this weird thing on my lip. Whatever. For those of you who are listening, in my lipstick, there's this weird dark spot. Whatever. Anyways, I have a whole birthday playlist that I will drop because birthdays are meant to be celebrated. I have this weird thing about birthdays. They weren't always a very big deal in my household growing up. They were celebrated, but not. It was kind of a weird thing. Not to downplay or disgrace or degrade my parents. They were doing the best they could. And somewhere along the lines, probably in college, I was like, this is meant to be celebrated. And so all throughout college, I would have ridiculous parties for my birthday and would try to celebrate the best that I could. And then there was years in adulthood where I was like, meh, I just didn't do it. In the trials and tribulations of stress and figuring things out and all of that. But probably primarily when the kids came back around, that's when birthdays, or when the kids came around, not back around, they weren't gone. But when they showed up, birthdays became a really, really big deal again. And admittedly, much to my friends' dismay, I'm very much the, a week before, I'm planning happy hours, I'm planning the entire day. I usually block off my entire day. It is a day of celebration. We start with mimosas in the morning and old fashions at night, and it is a thing. But last year, much to my friends' dismay, I was like, I don't want to have a birthday. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. I had just buried my dad a couple of days before, and it was just a time. And admittedly, I'm still kind of in a meh time. There are some things transpiring that at some point we will talk about. But right now we're keeping on the low. So some things are transpiring in my life that pose a potential problem. And so I'm back in my meh stage of space. However, my friends are like, you're not allowed to do that. We're not doing this. This is not our journey. And so we will be celebrating today and I'm not going to fight them. I'm not. We're going to do this again. So today though, I want to talk about 37 truths, because I'm 37, that I wish I could tell my 21-year-old self. And I am reading from my screen, partially because when you come up with 37 truths, it takes I'm not going to remember all 37 truths. And if I tried to remember all 37, we would be here for far too long because I would get distracted. And so, and I hate when people read from things on podcasts because it feels very y'all know the like chat GPT podcasters, right? Like they just type something into chat GPT and read it. This isn't one of those things. I want to be abundantly clear. But I am reading so that we stay on track and we're not here for 27 hours. Today, I'm not drinking coffee or tea. It turns out that caffeine increases your anxiety. Who knew? I mean, I guess I knew. The internet told me, but I have been in therapy now for almost a month. EMDR therapy. I'll probably keep talking about it, honestly, because one, those of us talking about it break the stigma. So that's super important. But two, I'm just like learning a lot about myself. So now I drink Nello Calm, which I'm not sponsored by, but I should be, because everybody I talk to who gets in within arm's reach of me, I was like, you should start drinking this stuff. The raspberry lemonade, the guava are both fire. Guava is actually my favorite. But it's got magnesium and L-theanine and ashwagandha, all the like happy things for your brain as opposed to caffeine that like spikes your anxiety. So that's what I'm drinking now. So Nello time with Tamika doesn't have as much of a ring. So we're going to stick with tea time with Tamika, but like it's not tea. Okay. On to the show. 37 truths I wish I could tell my 21-year-old self. And why I picked 21 is because 21 was obviously a transformational year for me. That is when everything happened with my family. That is when I was sprung into adulthood faster than a rocket ship. And through therapy, one of the things that my therapist walks me through every session, which I love, it's my favorite part of every session, is going back and giving the past versions of myself grace and apologizing to her. And then also bringing her along the journey, because we can't change the past. And so many of us wish we could, and we can't. And I am a huge believer of everything happens for us, not against us. Even though while it's happening, it feels like it's happening against us. You want to burn the world down, all of that. But we can't change it. We can't. And it's super, super powerful when you can go back and tell the past versions of you they were just doing the best that they could. And then bringing them along the journey of like, you're doing the best that you can, and it may suck and it may feel hard right now, but it gets better. And you'll go through more hard times and it will get better. Like that's just it. It will get better. It will. So, truth number 1. That's truth number 0. It will get better, and bring the past versions with you. Truth number 1. You don't have to earn love by shrinking yourself. Past versions of me, and even current versions of me sometimes, and that's one of the things that I have to work through, feels like I have to be less than in order to be loved. Don't be so loud. Don't be so big. Don't be so all of these things. Don't talk so much, right? Just stop talking. And so the past versions of me would shrink in order to make people comfortable. And we're not doing that anymore. 2, your voice will one day be your superpower. Start using it now. Start using it now. As I was writing my book, I was interviewing people from my past, and they were telling me how big they saw me, how like full of life they saw me. And it was not a version of me that I knew, but a version of me that they saw. And I had no idea that conversations I was having, even at that time, were changing people's lives, that they would seek me out for advice, that they would be in my space. And I just always thought that I should stop talking. And now I know it's my superpower. 3, not everyone who claps for you is clapping for you. There are some people who are clapping just to be a part of the movement, just to say that they're here. And there are some people who are clapping for you because You show up for them, but they're not showing up for you. 4, learn to rest before life forces you to. Oh, as you know, as a recovering people pleaser and as someone who really did did struggle with needing or wanting to be everywhere or showing up for people and not showing up for myself, like I would only rest when I got sick. I would. And there has been such power in building in rest in my days or rest in my week, or even just spending a Sunday reading or doing nothing. Because before I would punish myself because I thought always had to be productive. I always had to perform. And as I have gotten older, I have realized that if I rest now, I can be more powerful later as opposed to waiting for the rest to come. And usually it shows up in a time that I don't want it here. It's not an appropriate time for me to rest. And so, rest. Learn to rest before life forces you. 5, sometimes the universe removes people because you prayed for peace. How many of you have had somebody in your life leave and you try to figure out why the world is so cruel and you try to figure out why this is happening to you and you're just all in your why? Well, you prayed for peace and those people weren't your peace. 6, your boundaries are allowed to offend people who benefited from you having none. Actually, in the class that I am doing right now, Not Dead Yet, there was a section all on boundaries because it's one of the most important things for you to learn. 7, confidence comes from doing the scary thing, not for waiting to feel ready. There's so many of you who are terrified to make the next step or are terrified to follow the big idea or terrified for XYZ. You're just terrified. And I have found that the greatest moments in my life have happened when the scary thing has been present and I did it anyways. Or the idea I can't stop thinking about over and over and over again. I call those God winks. If there is something that is in your head and you're terrified of it, that is your next right step. 8. Oh no, 7. Nope, 8. If it doesn't feel right in your gut, it isn't right, period. A lot of women, not as many men, but a lot of women are taught not to trust their gut instinct. And your gut instinct is the closest to your primal beings that you can be. Now, granted, we are not running away from beasts that want to eat us and things like that, but we're taught not to trust that gut instinct, and that gut instinct is never, ever, ever wrong. 9, the right people will celebrate your growth, not compete with it. And that is a mic drop. The right people will celebrate you. They are clapping with you, not clapping, or they're clapping for you, not clapping against you. The right people will show up. The right people will be there. The right people. 10, healing is not weakness, it's rebellion and rebirth. We think that going to therapy, well, and that's an old thing. It is an old thought that going to therapy is a bad thing, or that working on yourself is a bad thing, that setting boundaries is a bad thing. That's old, right? It's old. And healing is one of the most powerful, painful things you will do. Do it anyways. 11, what you tolerate becomes your future. Raise your standards early. I wish I could have told 21-year-old me that the ways that people were treating me were in fact red flags. I wish I could have told her to quit going to the circus, right? A bitch loved red flags. She just did. And she loved healing people and being in that space. But what you tolerate is your future. And that is a powerful lesson to learn. 12. Time alone isn't loneliness. It's where your power grows. Still one of the hardest things for me. I am not going to go out to dinner by myself. I'm not going to go out to lunch by myself. I maybe will get coffee by myself. But spending time alone, it can be very, very hard for people. I will tell you, it's very hard for me and for some of my clients, because then you have to really face some demons in the aloneness, in the stillness. Being alone can feel hard. Like, I have always lived with other people my entire life. I've never lived alone. In fact, I very rarely have ever slept alone as well. Even in college, my bed, my room was the place to be. When people were feeling bad, when they were stressed, when they needed love and cuddles and all of the things, people would stay with me, whether they were my roommates or not. Like, so being alone is still one of those things that I have a really hard time with. But I know that there's power in the alone. 13, being underestimated is a gift. Watch what you do with it. I love when people tell me I can't do something, because then I'm like, bitch, bet I'm gonna do it, and I'm going to do it better. Like, I just am. I love when people underestimate me. Before, 21-year-old me, if somebody underestimated me, that meant that I was not going to do that thing. I was not going to show up for me. I was not going to believe in myself. This underestimating yourself or when people underestimate you, they don't know your belief. They don't know the path that you were given. They don't know anything. It wasn't a conference call. They weren't there. And it is truly something powerful. 14, you don't need a plan for the rest of your life, just the courage to take the next step. 15, honestly, too, with that, I wasn't going to do side quests on all of these because there's 37 of them. But had I followed the plan for my life, I would not be where I am right now. If I had not said yes to wild opportunities, if I had not said yes to moving across the country 3 months after getting married to a place where we knew no one, and opening businesses and starting new careers and starting a family, if I had not said yes to the wild, audacious ideas that people doubted, I would not be who I am today. 15, not everyone has the capacity to love you the way that you love them. That is not your flaw. It was a hard thing to learn that not everybody has the capacity of love, joy, happiness, compassion, empathy, sympathy that I have. And sometimes I would make myself feel wrong, like I was the problem, if I exuded all of those things. And you all know that it's one of the greatest gifts I ever gave myself when I showed up in spite of that. When I showed up as that joy, when I showed up as the most attractive person in the room, because I have so much to give, why not give it? Why not give it? If the people around me can't do it, that's not on them. It's not on me. It's totally fine. It's totally good. 16, stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. Shine and blind them. Shine and blind them. 17, forgive yourself faster. You're learning. The forgive yourself, y'all know I love forgiveness and the forgiveness practice. The hardest thing and the hardest person, I think, I know, for people to forgive is themselves. Every single time. Every single time. They are the hardest. 18, self-respect will bring you peace that love never could. I spent a lot of time in my 20s not respecting myself or letting others not respect me. Um, and giving myself that space and that peace has drastically changed my life. 19. When people show you who they are, stop editing the subtitles. Stop it. When they show you who they are, believe them the first time. Again, leave the fucking circus. Just leave it. 20. Magic happens the moment you stop seeking permission. I have spent a lot of my life, even past 21, seeking the approval and permission from others. And when I let that boat go, when I sailed that boat out to sea and Viking funeraled it and lit that sucker on fire, everything started to change. Everything. You don't need permission from others. You need permission from yourself. 21. What you think is falling apart is often just falling into place. I think it's one of the hardest things to come to grips with. Very similar to what I talked about a little bit earlier, where when you think you're like everything is falling apart and things are happening to you and not for you, when you're in that moment, it feels like that. It feels like your chest caving in and nothing's ever going to work. But oftentimes, when the bricks break or when you burn everything down, the phoenix comes next. 22, trust the no's. Trust the no's. They're just redirections wearing rejection's clothes. We were taught that failure is bad. We were taught that no's are bad. We were taught that no is permanent. And one thing I tell my business owners all the time is no means just no, not right now. And we think we're being rejected. It's truly just a redirection. And oftentimes, not oftentimes, every time, the redirection is better. 23, your body is not the problem. Your comparison habit is. Okay? Okay. I grew up in the time of Cosmo and 17 magazine and all these magazines telling us that our bodies are the problem and all of these things. I grew up in that space. There was always something wrong with my body. Always. I was so mean to her. I didn't treat her well. I definitely did not drink as much water now as I did back in the day. I didn't eat good foods. I mean, granted, I was in college at the time. So, like, what are we really eating? Ramen and pizza. But, like, I was so mean to her. I would starve her on purpose. I would look at my roommates who were much skinnier than me and wish that I could be there, or be pissed that I couldn't wear their clothing, but they could wear mine because it was big. So it was baggy on them. And I hated my butt and how big my thighs were. And just one day, I am admittedly bigger than I was in college. And I have never been more attractive in my entire life because I believe it. And I talk to my body in a way that gives her compassion and love. And I give her rest and I give her the proper nutrients. And I show up for her so that she can show up for me. That also goes along with the giving the rest section, where now she doesn't break down as much. Now she's on my side. Stop comparing. 24. Being chosen is not the flex. Choosing yourself is. Like any girl in the early 2000s, or any girl in their early 20s, I should say. All I wanted was to be chosen. All I wanted was to be seen as someone's, because I was actively not choosing myself. I was actively in comparison. I was actively in shame, blame, and guilt and resentment. I just wanted the world to choose me. And that stems back to the 6-year-old version of me who just wanted her parents' attention, who just wanted her parents to choose her because I never felt chosen then. And choosing myself instead of waiting for somebody else to choose me has made all of the difference in the world. 25, you will outgrow people you thought you'd never live without, and you'll survive beautifully. It is such an interesting thing when you look at the ebbs and flow of friendship. Now, being a parent and having kids, and I had a conversation recently with one of my college roommates. I call her Nugget, for 2 hours. And it was awesome because it felt like being in college again. We were both getting ready, or I was getting ready and she was cleaning her house or doing something, but we had our AirPods in and we're both actively doing things that our lives required, but catching up. And the common, like, sorry, life is crazy. Having these kids is crazy. Having a full-time job and a husband and all these things is crazy. Like, your time is crazy and we haven't caught up in a year. And so we're catching up on a year's worth of time, and we're just doing the apology circle. And it's, at one point it was just like, we have to stop apologizing because we're actively living and we're doing things, and we can check in when we can and when we have the time, and that is okay. And there are some people that were my closest confidants in college. They were the people who were my family who I don't talk to anymore. And that can be a really, really hard thought sometimes, that they may not be there, but there are people who still are. There are people who are still there, who show up, and it is okay if people are let go. And that's really, really hard for somebody who has strived to create family when you have none. 26, you'll never lose the right people, not even in your worst season. My worst seasons have shown me who the right people are every time. Like a glaring magnifying glass on life that is uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable truth, but it's real. Your worst seasons will show you your best people. 27, grace for yourself will take you further than hustle ever could. 28, the loudest critic is usually just your scared younger self. Talk to her with love, not punishment. She spent so much time being punished for who she was or how she showed up in the world or what she was saying or what she was doing. And I often have conversations with her that she's safe, that she is loved, and that those fears that she has are no longer valid. 29, not every bridge is meant to be saved. Some are meant to be burned for the warmth. Some are meant to be burned to the fucking ground. And that is okay. 30, say yes to things that terrify you. Courage compounds. It does. It changes your life. Say yes to those big things. 31, you are allowed to reinvent yourself as many times as necessary. We are is it served a bill of health? We're served this thing on a silver platter that says at 18, you need to figure out who you're going to be. You got to go to school for it. You got to major in it. And you got to do that for the rest of your life, because that's what they did in the 1950s, because their lives ended at 60 and they had no choice. But 21-year-old Tamika was in school for genetics. And then shortly after that changed her career path, and then changed her career path, and then learned certain things along the way that set her soul on fire. And one of the things I want you to think about is there's things in you, thoughts that you have, dreams that you have that set your soul on fire. They just do. And you avoid them. But what if that's the reinvention you need? What if that's your next path? What if that is where the magic lies. You are allowed to reinvent. You are allowed to change. You're allowed to grow. And most importantly, you're allowed to heal. 32, a soft heart paired with strong boundaries is unstoppable. Along the lines of shaming myself for being so filled with love and happiness, I used to allow those boundaries to not exist. I used to be scared of them. I used to think that people would disappear if I had boundaries. And I'm telling you, those boundaries with a soft heart, both can exist, create magic. 33, you don't need to fix people. Love them and let them meet you where you are. You don't need to fix people. Fix people. People don't have to fix you. That's why I only fix with permission. If people choose to work with me or they call and ask a question, I only fix with permission. I don't go out of my way to give information to those who are not ready for it. Also, that I realized too, side quest here, a lot of my frustration in life has extended from seeing the very best in people, seeing what their future could be, seeing what they could do, knowing they could be better and I could help them, and them not doing it or wanting to do it, because there has to be buy-in. There has to be a want. And so I spent a lot of time in frustration seasons, basically, because the people around me, I wanted them to be better and I could see that they could be, but they couldn't see the vision and they weren't ready. And if someone's not ready, they're not going to do it. 34, success without peace is just fancy stress. Don't confuse the two. Success without peace is just fancy stress. Don't confuse the two. In that, also, the most important thing on the planet is to be your most authentic and true self. 35, life rewards the bold, so take the leap. As you can see, lots of steps moving forward in these themings. 36, your future self is cheering for you. Don't quit before she arrives. I think often about all of the times in which I've wanted to quit, where I've wanted to burn it all down, where I wanted to disappear, where I didn't want to be me. And I'm so thankful that I never listened to those instincts, because my future self is like I can only be who I am because of who I was in my past. And I think I'm pretty cool right now. And last, but certainly not least, 37, you were never meant to fit in. You were born to wake people up. I believe that that's my life's calling. That is what I'm the best at. That was part of my reinvention series, one of many, in which I realized that that was my God-given gift. That I was given the gift to talk, that I was given the gift to show up, that I was given the gift of hard things so I could feel what happiness and joy and love actually feel like, that I had to work through the hard task of learning what it means to be my authentic self so that I could show up and change the world and change you, dear listener, and change the people in your life. You know, when I started my business, I had said I wanted to help 1 million people. And then my friend Dave was on stage and he said his goal was to change 1 billion people. And I was like, well, shoot, my goal is too low, I guess. But when I started with 1 million, I knew that I wouldn't be in a space in which I talked to 1 million people one-on-one. But I knew that if somebody was in the room, that I was going to change that person. And if I changed that person, I could change their family and I could change their family dynamic, and that family would go out and change the world. And I saw that, right? I saw that inside of my own home in, you know, the way that my kids talk to people and how that they show up and how, like, the individuals they are, and they go out and they are those individuals to the kids in their school and the places around them. And I just knew that I could do more. And waking people up is one of the greatest gifts that I have, and making them see that their big audacious goals are possible, that their life can be amazing, that they can have whatever they want, they can manifest things out of thin air, they can have those dreams and aspirations, and they're not crazy. They're not they're not capable. They can move, they can grow, they can change, they can do all of these things. They can, and so can you. So, I, in the journey of talking to my younger self, the biggest thing, the overarching theme was that take the scary step, fall more in love with yourself, and just keep going. Just keep going, because you don't know the magic that you're about to create. And though life has been hard, or I should say, though life has given me hard things to experience, life has not been hard. Life has actually been very, very good, but it's given me things to experience. And though it's given me those hard things, life is so beautiful. It's so wonderful, and it is so filled with magic. And so I hope that all of these things that I would have said to my younger self resonate with you. And maybe not all of them, but some of them. And if some of them did, I want you to go back to whatever version of you needs to hear it. Thank her for all of the things she's doing. Give her grace for the experiences that she's having, or how she's showing up, or the mistakes she's making. And just let her know, her or him, sorry, I just keep saying her because it's me. Let them know they have no idea how good it's going to get. They have no idea. So that's it for my birthday. When you're listening to this, if it's in the morning, I'm sure I'm having a mimosa. If it's lunchtime, I'm sure I'm having a mimosa. And if it's dinner time, I'm sure I'm having an old fashioned to celebrate the 37 years of life, 36 being the hardest, but one of the most transformational. And I look forward to the next, I don't know, 60, 70, who knows? Who knows how many years I'm going to get on this world, but I am so looking forward to the twists and turns, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, and all of the good that comes with it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my world. Thank you for listening. And if you do like and love our podcast, please make sure you download, stream it, send it to somebody who needs to hear it. Follow us on all social media at Say More Words Podcast, and help us spread the word. Help me get to the 1 million. Well, now it's more than that because of Dave. 1 billion. Should I take his thing? Help me get to the people, to wake them up, to show them that they're loved, and that though life is hard, it can be wonderful. Thank you for being here.